Yeah. So this is just a recap because it's almost a 2 days gap. Maybe some people not get a time to practice these things. So just start practicing these connections because I told you how many connections we are going to have. 8 kind of connections we'll have. It's each every component 99% or a 90% you will see same connections, but depends on the component behavior or functionality. The connections will be active or inactive in that component. So but 8 connections are going to be the same for whole across the like a technology side, like what connections you can establish between the components. Okay, so let me create one more exercise. Other 3 connections will understand in a scenario base. Right now, these 5 connections we can able to follow what we are going to create jobs and how to write the data, how to read the data and all. So this the exercise 2. So we know how to generate the data. So generate data, it's a even it is not always it's going to be the same, and it's a depends on, it's a worst case we have to generate the data. In that case we are going to use the t generator. So now using t generator, data preparing, and we are trying to write onto the file. So I want to write till now we have write onto the console. That means in a studio level, we are seeing on the data whatever it is prepared by the t-row generator. So now we want to write the data onto the file. So how we are going to write onto the data and what components are we are going to use it, we are going to see now. So what is the component t-row generator? So t-row generator, to what is the purpose? To create a random data. It's going to be auto generated using the existing functionalities are available with Talend tool. So now I'm going to add again same whatever we have done previously. So ID I want to create as a auto sequence. So what is the method? Numeric sequence. You have to find the, you have to change the type. So again, if you are defining a schema, if you are declaring a schema, you have to make sure what is the column name and what type of data you want to store onto the column. So it is like nothing but a variable. So it's going to be changed. So one will come one time and two will come other time and it will come 1000 will come next time. So it's going to be it's nothing but a variable. Column is nothing but a, in other terms you have to understand it is a variable. So vary the value of the field all the time. Like it's going to be a, if it is reading from file or it is reading from database whatever. So the data will be varying row by row. So all ETL tools or whatever tools we are going to use, always data will be passed row by row. It's a row by row is coming means the field names or schema, it's nothing but a going to be same, but the row, whenever row comes the value is going to change. So you can call it as a column or you can call it as a variable, there is no difference. But here it is a ETL, so people will call as a columns or a fields because it's all it's all again it goes to the point of data. So data means we want to see in a row format. So row means collection of columns. So data will be populated in a columns and it is going to be a set of one row. The properties of a particular data information will be stored in a table format. So schema is going to be defined. Whatever columns you want to see on that row, you can define in the columns. So this the schema definition is going to be the same how to adding the schema, and if it is going to be a getting from other, so somebody will give the mapping, so you are going to add that columns same way. Now right now we don't have any schema, so we are creating ourselves. I am just leaving this as a random string, and I want to get the date, current date. I want city. So city, how to customize? You want to customize the city, what you have to select? Function, you don't need to select anything. and coming here, and you can write whatever cities you want to keep for the city field. So here you can put double quotes. String means always we have to keep in enclosed double quotes. So double quotes you are putting the data means it's a string. Okay, so I'm taking these three cities. So you want to see the whatever data you are preparing, where you are going to see and see, you can see on the like a preview. So preview will share you the view of data, what it is preparing. So here you can see right the component. Whenever you click on the component, whenever it started, it will start understanding what are the functions used and what are the things you are expecting. So it will start prepare the data. So here 00, why it is 00? Because we didn't define exact method what we are expecting. So the numeric sequence we haven't used, because of that it is giving something based on dxt text, whatever something it is taken as a less than or equal to eight. So it is 0 something it is taken. So we have to be careful what method you are selecting when you are expecting some data. So now I am going to select this. Now it is changed. So you can see what functions are parameters. So you can see name. So you can change this name whatever you want. So you can change this name. Name S1 is not the label. It's a label. It's a somebody you want to call. You have to give the name, right? Whenever kid born, we have to like a name ceremony, right? Same way, whenever you are creating one functionality, one function you are calling, you have to give the name. Because of that, you can say I have used the numeric sequence, or I have used that sequence identifier. So something you have to label. So I have given the numeric sequence. So you can call which function you have used. Like you can say numeric sequence. It is available in a Talend, which will going to generate the sequence for each and every row. So start value is going to be 1 and step value is going to be the 1. So the incrementing step we are taking as 1 by 1. So each and every row 1, 2, 3 like that, it's going to add the number. That id field as going to be the numeric sequence. You can say it as an in a SQL terminology, you can say auto increment. So auto increment is going to happen in a Talend similar functionality. There is a numeric sequence, because people will ask you in interview, so how you are going to generate a sequence in Talend. So this is the function all over the like whenever you are going to use any job creation, if the sequence need to be generated in a Talend side tool, so you have to call a numeric sequence method. So you have to say equivalent method we have in a Talend, which is a numeric sequence. Under numeric class there is a sequence method which will generate a sequence number, and with these three parameters we are going to pass for this. So three parameters you can find here. So parameters in the sense what is the input for that method. So they have written some functionality. They are asking to start value and a step value, like increment value, and what is the label you want to give for your sequence. So label is a numeric sequence label, and the start value is default is a 1 and step up is going to be the 1. So you want to change that to something, you want to increment every three numbers or a four numbers, you can change that number. So that's how we are going to use the numeric sequence. So now we have created a three field schema for row generator, and we are able to see the preview of the data. So what data it is prepared. So you are able to see 1 2, how many rows we are going to see 100 rows, because we have selected 10 rows here. So 10 rows will going to be displayed on the preview. You want more, you can change the number. So this you can done in a within the a mapping job editor, like a component editor, or directly you can pass in the here itself. So you can just pass the 100 rows, then it will give the 100 rows. These are all things we have understand last week. So this is a component which is going to be used for data generation. So now and this data I want to write onto the file. So I want to store this data onto the file. So if you are writing something, I told you in the day one, so like writing onto the file means you are, what component we have to select? Output. So if you are writing something, so it is a output or a target, whatever they call, you have to use the output component. So always the component will start t output. So you have to type t output, and I want to write onto the like a delimiter. So I'm going to use delimiter files. So what component we may expect on this delimiter? So t file output delimiter. So we have to find the delimiter. T file output delimiter. See, the component is coming automatically whenever you select, right, file, t file, you type the t file, automatically you'll get all the file related components and all. So where we are going to see the file components, which under which category, like if you type the t file, you can see the file under input. So file under two categories are there. One is file input and the output. So if you are writing data onto the file, you want to store the data onto the file. So you have to select the output components. You want to read from the existing file, then it is a input. So if you are reading something, it is going to be input. If you are giving someone input, as you are going to give as an input to someone, then it is going to be output. So you are generating file and you are passing to someone, some other team or some other customer is going to use that your file, then it is going to be input for them, but for us it is a output. Same way client is going to give us a file to read the data and process, applying the logics validations before loading into the some other place. That is going to be input for us. In other terms, right? So inbound, outbound. So technical talent, while they'll call it as a input and output. So you can say I need an input file to process the job. Yeah, I'm waiting for the file, you can say. And somebody will ask, I'm waiting for a talent team to generate a file. So they're going to be dependent on our process. So if you are giving someone, you are generating something, it is going to be output for you in your terms, but it is going to be input for some other people. So always you have to remember what is the difference between input output. In other terms is a inbound outbound. Inbound means you are going to get the data some other people. You Outbound means you are going to share that data to the some other people. So inbound, outbound, these keywords are very important, because in a regular real time terminology, right? So waiting for inbound file, there is a NAS location where you are going to get the file. They'll use this kind of terminology. So inbound, outbound, they'll not say input output. Input output is a technical terminology. Okay, technical, what is input for your job and what is the output for your code, like they'll say like that. But when coming to the data sharing, they'll say inbound, outbound. So what is the inbound for your process, what is the outbound output, you outbound you are going to give. So these terminologies you have to remember. So now coming to back to our output. So I want to write this generated data onto the delimiter file. So here you can find, so delimiter means which component has that keyword. So you have to find delimited. What is a delimited? Anyone? So what is a delimited?
Separation of columns.
Yes, so exactly. So when I want to separate the data, like I want to see which column related to which data. So I have to show something difference, right? So this is a ID field, and another field I have a name, and another field I have a city. So like this, based on name, you are able to follow. If there is no separator, so what is the field? This is ID, this is the name, city. So you are able to read these keywords because you are very familiar with these keywords. If I use something like this, so I have a here three columns, because I am the client, I am going to share. But if I don't define like what is the first column, what is the second column, what is the third column, so how you will identify, how you will understand? So I have to say two things here. So I have to separate the columns using some separator. So separator in a sense some special character which will differ the columns, between the columns it will differ, and it will say this column for this data and this column for this data. So here I am going to use comma. So comma indicates the origination is the other column and POC is the other column and native is the other column. You can understand if I am not going to separate, so you are not able to understand this is a single keyword or this is a kind of a combination of three columns. You don't know, and you have to understand based on data, maybe based on your data something you can assume. So assumption is not going to work, right? So in your real time when you are doing some work, you should not assume. So when you are making some thinking level, you can assume anything, but when you are going to work, you should not assume this is what maybe customer is expecting, this is what maybe they are looking for. So you cannot simply you cannot assume and do. So what they want, what exactly they are giving, and what you are exactly they are going to see at the end of your process. So these things should be clear when you are starting work. Same way, if I share this one, you have to ask me, so what is this and what is this origination POC? You can read anything. So because I haven't defined, this is a three columns combination, so I have not provided any delimiter. So now I can say it is not a delimiter file, so it is going to be a fixed length. I'll say origination is going to be the in 15 letters. So where you can see 0 to 15, you can think that is the origination related information. I'll share this kind of fixed length file, so they can say, or it is going to be delimiter. Then where is delimiter? I don't see delimiter. So how can I process this in a tool? So how to use the component? So if you are saying a delimiter and I don't see any delimiter, any special character on your input file, so how can I process? So these kind of things you will get in a mind. Even when they are giving like a mapping sheet, they'll give you the layout of your source and target target layout. They'll ask you, this is the field, you have to go for this one, you have to use this field for mapping, and you have to do this transformation. These things you have to be clear, carefully have to check before you are doing any process. Somebody will, it's just kind of nowadays agile. So today they'll ask you to process this one, and tomorrow they'll come, this is not required, you can go with this kind of mapping. So we have to accept and we have to do that. But before, at least what they ask today, you have to be very clear. So now coming back to our delimiter concept. Delimiter is a character, special character. It's a another character. So it can be anything. It can be anything. You can use anything. There is no restriction like this is the thing. But when you coming to what why I have to use this delimiter, that should be clarified from the business who are going to give the file to you. You can use anything. So like this, you have to use comma, and I am separating purpose the symbols. I am using comma again. So comma is a separator again, and you can use a semicolon one more, and it is a pipe, and it is a at the rate, and it is a hash and symbol, and you can use a pound symbol and dollar symbol. So whatever. So some character which can differ the between the columns. So now I'm going back to our schema. What schema we have? ID, reference, third date, city. Fields are there. I have used a comma separator. So if I want comma, I can use comma. If I want semicolon, I can use semicolon. So something I have to say to you. So this is the delimiter you have to find in your file data, whatever inbound I am sharing. So you can find the field names with this schema, and you can find the delimiter with this one. If you don't get the delimiter, what I am saying, then you have to ask me again why I didn't get this, because you cannot process whatever I share. By mistake, I'll export as a tab delimiter file. So you'll get a tab. So you don't see the comma, but you design the job using comma. So how to now the customer, this is a, we are generating a file with a data, and we are going to share someone. Then we have to ask them what delimiter you want in that file. So if you are asking separator, what separator you want between the field, so then they'll say it is a Excel. Then you have to use the Excel in. You can see the find the Excel output. If you they want any positional file, you can find the positional file. If they want some MS XML, then you have to write onto the XML structure. Or they want some JSON, then you have to go to the JSON. So like this, you can find under file folder, you can find what type of file they are asking, what kind of file you are going to generate. If you are reading, what kind of file you are reading, based on that you have to select the component. So this is a psychologically the design of naming in a Talend, it's very simple. You can easily able to get the grab the component from the palette, or you can type here. If you don't know like a palette where to go and what the type, even if you are not able to familiar, you can type just a JSON. You will get the JSON related all the components. So because you heard that JSON some keyword from somebody, so just type the JSON, you can find what are all the components available. You can find here, right? T file input JSON, T file output JSON, and T file extract JSON fields, T write JSON XN field. Like this you can find. You want to XML, so you don't know XML related, so but you know technology. So technology keyword you are able to follow. So XML. So you can find XML related what are all the components available to use. And if you want to use this component, you can get that component and click on F1. It will go to the documentation, and you can understand what needs to be configured and what is the purpose of this component, what are the settings. So those things you can able to follow. Right now I want to write onto the delimiter file. So delimiter file, and where we have to go, file under output. So output you can find where you can find the delimited. Delimited is a nothing but a separator between the fields. So that separator you can define anything. There is no when you are practicing you can do anything, but coming to the real time, they'll share what delimiter is going to be there in our file. So you don't need to worry about it. They'll tell you what file you have to read and what type of delimiter they have used in that file. So for our exercise we are going to take the T file output delimiter, how to drag the component. If you are comfortable, you can directly type here and you can click on the output, then it will automatically it will generate the component, and you can see that component configuration and all. Or you want to drag from the palette, you can select that component, which component you want to write. So this one I just want to drag and drop. So it is up to us. When you are start practicing, you will get to know which is easy for you to use. Like it's a user friendly. So if you are able to type the keyword and you are able to get the components here, or you want to go to the palette and you can type the what component you want. So now I'm deleting this, and I'm going to before connecting. So we know, right? So you want to pass the data onto the file. Before establishing connection between component, what we have to do, we have to understand what the component configuration, what are all the settings we have to do. First thing, you have to check at the schema. So is there a schema defined? No. So how to get the schema? In a process, you want to get the what are the columns are there in input component, you want to get into the output. Then what we have to do, you have to select the component and you have to right click on that. You will see the what connections are there. Under row, always you will see the main iterate by default, and one more will be reject. So we have discussed already main and iterate. So which one we have to use? You want to pass the schema to the next component, or you want to pass the data to the next component. Schema passing means it's almost you are defining what as the data is going to be passed from the input to next component. I cannot say this is the output, I cannot say this is the starting. So but still in this case, what is our input? You can see here automatically. So you can remember green color, and it is not connected also. The green color highlights the starting point of the job. So this is the starting point of your job. And output, always it won't say change anything in a background anything. Whenever you connect, it will be part of the process. So now we understand we want to get the schema. So get the schema, two ways you can get it. When you connect to the automatically it will connect. But Other practice how to copy the schema, right? You can select this id column and click keep press on shift and select the last column. So schema will be selected, and then you can see here icon is there, right? Copy selected items. So copy selected items, what it will do, it will copy that schema. Okay, so you can copy that, and if you go to the output component, you can see the edit schema. So any component, you will see the schema parallel to built-in and repository. Forget about it right now, and you can go to the edit schema. So you click on edit schema, you'll see that nothing is there, but here you can see that one icon is highlighted, which is a copy, and one more is replace all those input. So you can have that schema in a file format, which is XML. You can import, and right now we just copied the schema. You just click on this, automatically the schema whatever you copied, right, automatically here it will be pasted. This is a other way. So now why I'm doing this later we'll see, but we understand the option how to copy schema from one component to other component. So now I'm done with the schema. So what I am expecting and what is I'm generating, and these things we are clear. And where to store this file, so we have to give the file. So default it will store in a your workspace. So we have to keep this file in other location, or you want to share with someone in some other location, like it's going to be a I told you, right, NAS location, like it's a network sharing drive. There they'll give a drive, but right now we don't have anything like that. So I am going to create a inbound folder. So in my process, I'll create a data folder. So I think we already have a data folder. Under that I'll create a inbound folder. So we have to keep the structure properly and namings properly. So naming is very important. So already you see, right, in my folder one data folder is there. Under that lookups and models I have, and now I'm going to create a outbound, because I am creating a output to someone. So this is I'm going to share with someone. So I'm creating a output folder. This is nothing but a outbound. So you can call inbound or outbound. uh, Everything is same, but general business terms they'll call it as a outbound, inbound. Okay, we are going to generate a file for them, and we are going to share in this particular some drive is there, like C drive and Talend 120 122. Under data we have a outbound folder. So I am going to use that. So how to browse that folder? So I have created a folder under talent related, training related folder, and I can see data folder. Under data folder, I see the output. And what is the file name? So this is a sample file. This is not related to any specific business or something. So you have to give naming convention, whatever. So D row generated data with delimiter. So this makes sense. So this is the file which is used T row generated, and it is have like a delimiter is a column separator for this file. So now I have given the file name, and row separator. So row separator means here you see, right, we are going to have ID reference. Each and every entry will have a row. Set of columns is a row we call, right? So ID1. So whatever date. So this is a row. So this is a Krishna's related entry which I have done. And again, if I want to go for other row means we need a row separator. So file it is writing, right. We have to say after city field go over next sit one. How you are saying? So in your like in your Java code, we are going to specify that after the city, when you find the city as a last column, like city is a last column in my columns list, or my list of columns, I am going to say city is my last column, then make a next row. So make a next row, that is a in Java code I am going to write. But it is a framework which is a Talend design, they have written those things. So they simply asking row separator. So row separator means all the columns whatever is specified, right? Once city is found, then it will create a new row. So now it is done with now I have to enter for Krishna, the entry is completed. So city Ongole is identified, the schema city is identified in the code, then automatically it go to the next row and it will start create a new row for other entry, other row. So this is going to be new row. So how it is identified? Based on schema. Otherwise, how should it can split the rows? So we have to specify based on that. Logic has already done by them, and just simply you can pass the slash n. So slash n means in Java it is going to be a new line. So new line separator slash n is a symbol or a syntactical code. So it's going to be meaningful. N means new line, slash means it's going to end there and it will start the new line. So you can see, right, forward. So forward slash means move forward. So ct it is identified in your schema in a entry, and then it will generate a new line. So slash n is nothing but a new line. So new line is a generator, that is a row separator, so separating the row. So after city Ongole I have to, it will automatically the slash n will take a new row and it will start writing data onto the next line. So new line is a next line or a new line. N is a slash n is a next line or a new line, whatever. So you can call it anything. So next line is indicated by the slash line, slash n, or new line indicated. Next line means automatically it's a new row, right? So two is a new entry and Tirupati and the date. So whatever, it's going to be new for our file writing. Okay, so clear, right? Row separator, which indicates the new line starting. So new line starting will indicate by the schema. So once it read the ID, reference, current date, city, then it will think, so okay, this is a completed row. If you have something else also, it doesn't matter. If you don't have anything, but still you have something, it won't worry about what is there other side, but it will always check with the city, then it will automatically split. Then it is a problem, right? It is not a proper structure we have. So if you get something instead of id, you will get a jjll, something in the data is there, some data issue. It's not about our issue. So we have to ask them why it is a issue. But generally our expectation id, reference, current date, city, these four fields we are expecting. Beyond that, if there's something they're given in the data, it's maybe by mistake or it may be something as their layout they missed to share with us. So but still our process will read under city only. If something is there, it will start reading. So whatever is there, it will start reading under city only. It has a delimiter also, it won't worry. So it will write everything on the city field. So you want to change that, then you have to ask them why, what is this data, is that a really is a meaningful data, or you are expecting this a data under city column. So we are going to ask. Generally they won't give that kind of mess of data. It's going to be a meaningful data always. It's going to be, if it is some other column, then they'll share with us if they require that column. So that thing also we have to carefully, when you are reading, you have to check that. So what data they are sharing, and it is matches with the definition or mapping file which they have shared with us. Based on that, we have to generate a output file. So in this case, we are a generator. So don't worry about right now what the scenario, but whenever you are reading from input, you have to be very clear what the schema and what delimiter they're giving and what delimiter they expect. Now I want to write down to the comma separator. So comma separator, so field separator. So I want to generate field separator as a comma. So every field I want to give the comma separator. Under entering id I'll give comma, under reference I'll give a comma. Right now we are giving a outbound for a file, so we can have to check what delimiter they want. So because they are doing some other process, so they have to know, right, what is where our separator of the file. So based on that, they'll write their code. Maybe they are using other tool or they are doing some automated script. whatever they have, but we have to say, right, what is there in our file. Otherwise they'll use something other delimiter, and we have given some other delimiter, then they cannot able to process the file. So we have to be like we have to communicate it that this is a delimiter is expected and this is what I am generating. And now coming back to here, you can see append. Append is called like it's going to keep writing onto the same file. If you have it like right now we have 100 rows, and if you want to keep add that 100 rows with another 100 rows, then you will use the append. And include header means by default we are expecting header, so we want headers, right? Otherwise how can we understand? But this data we can able to follow because it's a clear indication of something is a number, which is an identifier something, and name is Krishna is a name, and a date is looks like a date, today's date, and Ongol is looks like a some place name. So Ongol we are very familiar, so we can understand it's a C. But if you have other data fields and all, you cannot able to follow what this field indicates, what this field indicates. For example, here I don't have anything, but I have a um, so what is this field? Anybody can guess? So I'm copying one more row. So anybody guess what is the last field? What label you can assume?
It's like a training session.
Yes. So he is able to follow because I have used what we have in a Skype ID. So he's assuming and thinking. Now instead of this, I'll change to something else. So I don't have a TRN because it's he's able to follow the Skype label. So he's saying that it is a training batch something, but I don't have this. So now what is this? What is this? So we don't know, so we can assume anything. It's a again it's a date, like it's a date of January 31st. Maybe it is a today or a last month or last year. Like if you are running on 23rd, you are running on 2023rd, then you can understand this is the date of Jan 31st, because it looks like a date pattern YYY and MM and DD. So you can assume something, but this is not like this is a, I can say this is a some identifier day. So this is my business call. So this is the identifier day. So the day business on 31st January 22. So this you can label column name as this is looks like a date only. But in my case, my business, it is going to be ID day. So day ID. So day ID is going to be like a format is YYYMMDD. But you don't know what is the name, because I have to say, because as my business, what is the label, what is the column name I am using, and what are all this field is used by the other functionalities and all. I know you don't know, so that's where you have to expect. ETL means you have to extract the data and load transform. You have to ask what is this field name, why this is looks like I can understand this is looks like a date, but why this date again? We have already one more date is here, and what is this date? What is where we are going to use this date? These kind of basic questions we have to understand and ask. This is not a like a very typical or something which you cannot able to follow, but still you have to ask what is this, what is this number? It's a identifier, or it's a something, it's a what is it? It looks like a particular day related date or something. So those kind of questions you always get. But why we are discussing about, if there is no header on it, you can understand what is that data and all. So that's where you have to ask header. So you have to ask Krishna. create a header with the file. Then if not created a header, it is just created with till city, and it don't find any other uh, header, then you will get a doubt. So till city Ongole is fine. After that, some number is coming. So it is something which is a definition of a file as a problem. So you can go and ask what is this field and why we are giving. But as per your mapping sheet, I haven't heard or seen this kind of field name or anything. We have only shared these four fields. So I am generating outbound file for these four fields. So you can be able to ask that, and you can able to follow if you have a include header. You don't have a include header, but still there is a testing team will identify what is you have written and what is they're expecting to write onto the file and all. But still, if somebody not notice, then it is a bug, right? So whatever you have a code, but whatever you are generated a outbound file, it has some issue. So why other field is coming? Why other field length? The length also matters. So why, what is you are writing after ongol? So why we are going that much length of that field? So these are all the questions will come. Because of that, header will make sense. So what are all the fields you are writing? After that, you will see any comma separate and writing something on this, it won't separate, it won't give comma also. It will start writing, but luckily the data has comma, then it will say comma, and again it will start typing and it will see semicolon. So something it will be there, but it is a separator. But now you got the doubt why it is having comma and what is the field name. But it won't take it as the other field, and it won't separate with the comma. By default it will start appending to the city field only. So you cannot guess or what is this and why it is coming. Okay, which is something, it's a business fields are not going to be very familiar with us, right? It depends on business. The field names or a data is going to be it's different. So you cannot guess what is that field and where they're used and all. So see somebody saying transaction date, so his assumption, his experience says that is maybe transaction date. So that is his assumption. But again, label maybe the functionality as per his understanding, transaction date or a training batch ID. So you guys are all assuming that is all right. But in my intention, what is this column name? ID day. So ID day, why I am using all these are all, it is associated. That understanding you have to get from me, because I am the designer of this and I am the client for you, and you have to clear that information. What is the field name? Why you are giving that? So that kind of questions you have to ask me. Now we don't have anything. So but still, why we are including header including the main intention to understand what are all the fields we are passing and what data it is populating under the ID. So for example, this is a file, it won't verify the data type. So 3 is a integer type. Who said? We are a technical guy, we are able to understand 3 is an integer. But in a file it doesn't understand it is a data type is a integer or it is a date something. It cannot able to follow the data types. So it's a flat blank page. So if you are writing a letter, somebody you are giving, I am coming on so and so date to your village, we'll meet on this function, you are writing something. So what are all the characters you are using? If you don't have a sense, it is a numeric field, it is a character, then it won't understand, right? Something text you are writing onto the letter. So date, how you know? That is a like a and childhood onwards we understand. So we have a dates on each and every month, something like that we understand. And same way, name is something which is very like a if you heard some Japanese name, you don't know it is a vehicle name or a person name or something sometimes. So you cannot understand exactly what is the meaning by that label. But some label is there, you can call by seeing our Skype also, right? Some people names are weird. So but we don't know that is a meaningful name for them, but our language is different. So we'll thought which one we have to call. So we call before comma, after comma, it is a first name for him or a surname for him, whatever. So we'll have always that question. So we'll simply like every normal person what they just they will put hi. So because that is what we don't know what to call. So they have to say, if say he says hi, this is a Sam something, they'll say I'm Velasky something, they'll say, then we'll understand, oh, everyone is calling him as Velasky, so we'll start calling as Velasky. Otherwise we don't know what to call him. So that is the intention of header including in our output file. file. Or you have to say what is the field purpose and what is the things. So customer can say this is a fixed length, or it is a like it's a fixed length or a positional file. So this field from this position to this position. So only other option, always you will not see headers in 90% of the cases, only positional files. Other than that, all the files you will see the header. So without header you will not see the like inbound file or outbound file. Okay, so only positional file, you will not see the header in a most of the cases. But right now there are positional file also they're taking, because ETL will stop that reading that first row. So because it's a header, so that kind of facility is there. But earlier technically in a positional file you don't find the header, because you have to follow the length of each and every call. So I can say 2 characters. So ID should not be go beyond the 2 characters. And name, so name should be 30 characters. So beyond 30 characters, if something goes, then your file layout has some problem. So the if you're going if it is a 32 also, then it will disturb the next field. So that kind of sense or that kind of layout they have to say for a positional file. So positional file only you won't see the header, and other all files you can see the header. So right now we are good with include header. And compress a zip file, this is fine. This is to just to make sure like you want to make this as a zip file. So click on it and try to run this, and you can see that option. This is to, you can see that psychological information here, right? Compress as a zip file. So you can make that file. Right now we are creating a file. You want to make that as a zip file, you can check this box, then it will generate a zip file. And now we are good with schema. Always whenever you take the output or input component, first what schema you have to define, that should be very clear. And then you start configuring the other things. So now we started from here, but some components you can see at the first of this your design. So you can see the edit schema, but this component output, so finally output is a schema, what schema you want at the end. So that is a sense, like when you are giving a input. So now you can see this component, right? Where is the edit schema? So starting, because if you are someone giving, right, what you are giving is a first thing. So if what you are giving the first time, if something you are going to give or you want to deliver something, so what place you have to deliver and what you want to deliver, that will come next. So that is a, like, again, it's a psychological thing which can be followed and it can be easily remembered by the developers or users. So input means if you are taking something, when where it is coming and what it is having, those things we'll bother about. So always what it is having first we'll see, and who shared next, because who shared maybe because someone send a gift for you, they're sending, but what is there in that gift, that is the intense, like you have to open and see. So like that, if somebody is sharing a file with us, so we know that. So what is there in the file, that is a matter. So that is one, right? So when you are creating a process to read the file, but somebody shared the file, we are aware of that somebody is gifting us on a birthday, but what they are going to gift is a question. So what is giving, it's like what is the input for us? So they are going to buy a mobile or they are going to buy a watch or something. So the intent is to know what they are giving, not whom sending, like where it is coming. That thing we know, we can easily know who are all gifters on a birthday, but everyone will not gift us, right? We know specific people, they are going to gift us. Same way, when you are working, somebody is giving a inbound file for you. So this is the, like TS team or a tech teams or whatever, they are going to share the file, but in that file what is there, that is our main intents. So for that purpose, always input you see, right? Edit schema is going to be the first when you are giving, right? So always you want to give them, so you have to say which location I have to share that gift, and what is the like criterias. These are all things first you will think, and based on that, like you will define what you are going to share with them. So because it is with you, so you have to first define where they want to write to this file. Without knowing, so you want to gift someone, you don't know where he is staying, then what is the use of having gift in your hand? So you don't know where whom to send that gift, then you don't know so where they are staying and what address we have to deliver. So that's where the sense making sense, you would have to know where you want to write that file first, and then what is the what you are going to pack, and what how you are going to pack, and what is the things you are going to write on that, and finally inside what your gift you are placing. So for them again, if they start opening, right, if you see input file input delimiter, if they are going to start using something like, so now you can see, right, they can they can see, oh okay, this guy is sending file and what is the layout, then they will open and see the schema, and then where it is coming, and what is the delimiter, these things. So that is the sense. So inputs always, what is getting matters, so always edit schema will be there in a starting of your component, output you will see the at the end of your component. So this don't sometimes I'll use these kind of examples, don't stick to this example, just to understanding purpose, all the people keep in mind, I'll tell this kind of examples, but it is not related to any real time. Okay, it's kind of disclaimer note for you. Okay, just to understanding I'm telling gifting and all, so don't explain to anyone when you are saying in interview something. So always edit schema input component you can say in the in like a starting of your component, and output you are going to see at the end. So now we are clear, so where we have to send and what is the delimiter and what we are going to have in the file, and what is the schema, so we have all provided. So now we have configured input and configured output components, but where is the connection, so you how you want to send like a courier, so you have somebody is gifting you, so he is ready with the gift, and you know you are a receiver, so you are ready with the receiving that, but which is the via which communicator you are going to send that gift and all, you have to know, right? So what is that connection, so you can see row and you can select the main, so you have to establish the connection, so you are going to which service you are going to use and what they are going to deliver, if you are international or a national or local, so you are going to pass via post office or whatever. So the connection is a intention of this one is, right, processing of data. So data processing, we always in a technical talent we are going to use a main. So main is the one which can be passed a data between the components, one component to other component. If the component has a capability of passing data, then you will say under row connection, you will see row main. Once you are connected to the main, you will not have multiple mains, so you can have only one main in a component, so you don't find that main connection again. You want to iterate something, you can see. Now we are good with connection, so who is the sender we know, and where they're sharing file we know, and we are ready for receiving the gift file. So now we have to run this job. So now it is written 100 rows, so we have to go to that. So once the courier received, we have to go there. So now file is generated. So now you see, right, so comma delimiter, so now 100 rows are written. So I want to add under like I want to send some more like some more data onto this. So I'll change this to 200. Okay, so I want to write a 200 on this, going to write 200 rows on it, but I don't want to delete the existing data. I want existing 100 rows, and I want to append this, like I want to keep writing onto the same file. So what is the option we have to use? So we already
Append.
having 100 rows on this file. That's it. So psychologically you can able to follow. Now you see, right, appending means you should not have a zip. So they are so you are writing onto the same file, the file should be open, right? If you zip it or if you close it, so how can you append? So that's where when you use the append, automatically the compress zip option is disabled in this component. If I when I deactivate or uncheck this append, then automatically you get the zip. So somebody, if you are booking a ticket, if I open that window, then people understand you are still ready to give the tickets. If I close this, if I'm going to close this, then automatically I have to put the close board, then people will not come into the queue. If I put this, then if I put the close board, then you cannot come into the queue to get the ticket something. So same logic, they are following the psychological. If I put close board, then nobody will come into the queue. They'll not ask give me ticket and all. So that kind of sense, if you click on the append, then automatically closing, like a zipping means you are closing that file, you are packing that file, and you are going to make it a zip. You cannot write once it is in a zip folder. You cannot write. If you want to unzip that, you want to unzip that file and you want to write again, so a lot of work you have to do again. So that's where they're simply deactivating that zip concept, and when there you are selecting append, because this process whenever it is going to run, it is trying to keep on append the data. So it is a requirement, you are keep on appending. So it is going to be, you are going to run every 15 minutes, or you are going to run every day once, so whatever. So end of the day, end of the month, you want to see whole data onto the same file, then you should not zip it. So zip it means you are trying to make packing and you are passing to someone, so you cannot open and write again. So once it is packed, so you cannot write it. But you can do that, but it is going to be a risk, right? So why if you want to write on the same file, why you are zipping and again unzipping? So it's going to be a double work for you, and it's not a meaningless, right? So you are ready to give someone and you have packed everything, but you want to add one more, then again you have to unpack that and you have to add that item, and then you have to pack again. So whatever you packed is a waste, right? So that is the sense. So now, yeah, when you are using append, then you don't need to see that compress zip option. So now I am going to run the job, and how many rows we are going to see on the file? So now 200. So as per this generator, it is a 200. Now we can go and see, it will reload. So sequence is not changed, because sequence always automatically generate, right? 1 to 100, but you have 100 rows before. So now we can see, right, 100. These are actually technical things. If you want to do the 300 rows something, but 100 rows already we have appended. So and then we have added another 200 rows. So it will start generating the sequence 1 to 200 again. So overall, you can see the 300 rows. You can see that row number here in a notepad. So you can find that 301 including head. So that is how you are going to append it. And I want to, so now I'm clear. So I'm going to unzip this one. I'll write and again 200. It's going to, how many rows we are going to see file if I'm removing the append? How many rows I am going to see after running this job? Hmm? How many rows? No? No guess. Okay. So now I am remove the append. I'm going to run this job. So what will happen? You just tell me. I'm
So
zipping that
data
file.
will get replaced.
So if you have opened something, you cannot write. Correct. So it is asking us to close the file. So it will say file is open. So you want to close this, and one more option, you want to get rid of this, you can go and check this. There is options to overwrite. So here you can see, right, if already exists, you don't want to throw error, and you can select this throw an error if already file exists. So it is not able to write onto the file again, because we have selected throw an error if already file exists, because you are trying to recreate the file. Then you should not have this checkbox option. So you have to uncheck this. If you are using append, it won't worry, because the file is exist already. So it is trying to append the data. So when you are uncheck that append, then you have to make sure you have to uncheck this throw an error if already file exists. So if already file exists, if you check this box, what will happen? So file is already there. It will asking to, we cannot write or we cannot do overwrite the data and all. So if you are using append, it won't bother about file exist, because file exist only we are append, right? Something is there, then you can keep add your things. If you are not there, then it will be recreate. So if you want to recreate, then file should not be there. So if this option is checked, then what you have to do is you have to delete this file every time. So you can delete this file, then you can run this job. It will not throw any error. If file is already there, you are trying to overwrite that, it won't allow you. So now it is done. Now we'll see how many are there and it is a zipped or not. So now it is zipped because we selected compress zip option. So it is zipped. Now I want to select the append, and what will happen? It will create a new, or it is going to unzip this. It won't do, right? So we'll see. So now I'm unselecting the zip and I'm going to click on append. What what we are going to see now? It will create a file for that new set of data, and zip one it is not going to touch because that option itself disabled. Okay, so now you want to overwrite this file. So you want to overwrite the same file. Then what we have to select? There is a throw if already file exists. That option you have to disable. Then it will overwrite the file. Okay, so it is done. It is overwrite the file. You can see the time. Okay, so one more option. So if I'm going to give that generator 0 rows. Okay, so what will happen? We'll see. So 0 rows are passed. So if I go and see here, so only header is there. Is this file useful to other people? So what they can do with this empty file? It's nothing but empty file. If there is no header also, it is if there is a header and there is no data, then means it's not useful at all. This file will not be useful for do something, process something. Header, they won't process anything. So this kind of situations, you don't want to generate an empty file for them. If there is no data is generated by the business, then you can find the option to eliminate the or avoid the creating empty file. There is a don't generate empty file. So it will not generate if there is no data. Even there is no use, right? If there is a just a header, then what is the point of creating the file and all? See, it is not generated. So that is how you can find based on your requirement. You have to see what options can be utilized. Okay, so few more options there. We'll continue tomorrow. So start practicing this, and we are going to continue on file system another 3-4 sections to understand what are the file types and how to create a files and all, and how to read the files. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording.